In many ways, 1957 was a transformative year in American history. Major cultural shifts, fueled by economic prosperity, led to redefining what it meant to be an American. For many, there was a very real sense of optimism reflected in everything from new car designs with large tail fins to the explosion of youth-led rock and roll. During 1957, entertainment and eating went hand in hand, with many families eating 75-cent Swanson TV dinners in front of the television. On January 13th, the Wham-O company introduced what they called the Pluto Platter, which was meant to cash in on the public craze over space. This toy would later become the Frisbee and would go on to be a best-selling toy. Wham-O was also behind other top sellers like the Hula Hoop, the Super Ball, and the Water Wiggle. Truth or Consequences, a TV show hosted by Bob Barker, became the first program to be recorded on videotape on January 22nd. This made it possible to re-air shows in all of the other time zones. On February 10th, author Laura Ingalls Wilder died in Mansfield, Missouri. She wrote the Little House on the Prairie series of children's books released from 1932 to 1943. The story focused on a pioneer family and drew from Wilder's own childhood experiences. Standard & Poor's first published the S&P 500 index on March 4th. Previously, the index only tracked 90 stocks. The S&P 500 computes a weighted average of 500 publicly traded companies that make up the best overall measurement of the American stock market. On March 26th, Elvis Presley bought his world-famous house called Graceland. This mansion was located at 3734 Bellevue Boulevard in Memphis, and he paid $100,000 for the home. The home was named Graceland by its previous owner, and the 500 acres it sat on had been in the family for generations prior to Elvis buying it. On April 13th, Saturday mail delivery was temporarily suspended because of a budget crisis at the United States Postal Office. After public outcries, Saturday delivery was restored after Congress gave the post office $41 million to help fully fund the service. The very last episode of I Love Lucy aired on CBS on May 6th. The show capped 180 episodes that aired over 6 seasons and was the most watched show on television during its run. Major League Baseball's National League approved the move of 2 teams from New York to California on May 28th. The Brooklyn Dodgers and the New York Giants would finish the season and then move to Los Angeles and San Francisco. Hurricane Audrey made landfall on June 27th, demolishing Cameron, Louisiana, and killing over 400 people. Audrey was the first named storm of the season and grew to a high-intensity Category 3 storm before affecting Louisiana and Texas. On July 16th, United States Marine Major John Glenn flew from California to New York in an F-8U supersonic jet. The trip took just 3 hours, 23 minutes, and 8 seconds, which set a new transcontinental speed record. On August 28th, Democrat Senator and segregationist Strom Thurmond of South Carolina set the record for the longest filibuster with a 24-hour and 18-minute speech railing against the Civil Rights Bill. A day later, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act of 1957, which protected African American voting rights. The desegregation of Central High School in Little Rock, Arkansas, gained national attention on September 3rd. The Arkansas governor mobilized the National Guard to prevent the integration, leading President Eisenhower to send in the U.S. Army to ensure its success. The 9 students became known as the Little Rock Nine, and they were integrated into a school of 2,000 white students on September 25th. Despite suffering constant torment and discrimination from their classmates, 8 of the 9 students completed the school year at Central High School. On September 5th, On the Road by Jack Kerouac was first published by Viking Press. Kerouac typed out his manuscript in 20 days on a single roll of teletype paper. The book focuses on 2 friends who journey back and forth across the country between 1947 and 1950, and it has become a classic of American literature. On October 1st, the motto "In God We Trust" first appeared on U.S. paper currency. The television series Leave It to Beaver premiered on CBS on October 4th. The show featured the Cleaver family, but most notably, it followed naive Beaver Cleaver, the youngest son, on his adventures around his neighborhood. The Cleavers were the quintessential family of the time, and the show remains popular to this day. On November 16th, serial killer Ed Gein killed his last victim and was arrested for his crimes. Gein, a handyman from Plainfield, Wisconsin, also liked to dig up fresh graves and remove the skin from corpses to make a suit for him to wear. When he was arrested, the evidence showed that he had been collecting body parts for many years. On December 6th, America first attempted to launch a satellite into orbit. Unfortunately, the Vanguard TV-3 launch failed, rising only about 4 feet off the ground in Cape Canaveral, Florida, and then crashed down and exploded. On December 18th, The Bridge on the River Kwai is released. In the movie, Japanese forces during World War II capture POWs and force them to build a strategic bridge in Burma. The movie would go on to win the Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Actor, and Best Director.